Economics, Standard 12, Unit 8, International Economic Organizations continued. Let us learn today World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization was established in 1995. World Trade Organization was established in 1995. It was a successor of GATT. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. World Trade Organization is a new international organization set up as a permanent body and is designed to play the role of watchdog in the spheres of trade, in goods and services, foreign investment, and intellectual property rights. The Dunkel Tract, formulated by Arthur Dunkel, its Secretary General, became the base for World Trade Organization. The Dunkel Tract, formulated by Arthur Dunkel. Formulated by Arthur Dunkel. The Secretary General became the base for World Trade Organization. Every 2 years, the member countries' Commerce Ministers' Conference are being organized to discuss and settle the important source and trade related matters. So every 2 years, the conference that is Commerce Ministers' Conference are being organized to discuss on the important source and trade related matters. The first World Trade Organization's conference was held in Singapore in 1996. Singapore. 1996. And the recent conference was held at Argentina in 2017. Argentina. In 2017. The planned conference it has been organized as the 12th Ministerial Conference at Kazakhstan in 2020. Kazakhstan. In 2020. So we have to remember that every 2 years the ministerial conference is just held so that they can discuss on source and trade related matters. The World Trade Center, headquarters located at New York, USA. World Trade Center. And its headquarters, New York. And remember that it has got a relation with that, and it featured with the landmark of Twin Towers. So it is featured with the landmark Twin Towers, which was established on 4th April 1973. Twin Towers. So 4th April 1973. And the World Trade Center is an important trading center for international level. And this Twin Towers was destroyed on 11th September 2001 by the Craft attack. So Twin Towers was destroyed on 11th September 2001. So on 11th September 2001. But remember, the World Trade Center brings together businesses involved in international trade from around the globe. The objectives of World Trade Organizations are very important. It aims to expand international trade and bring about economic prosperity by liberalizing trade restrictions. And the main objectives of World Trade Organizations are: first, to ensure reduction of tariff and other barriers, to ensure reduction of tariffs. So the first and the foremost objectives of World Trade Organization is to ensure reduction of tariffs and other barriers. Second, to eliminate discrimination in trade. To eliminate discrimination in trade. And thirdly, to facilitate higher standard of living. To facilitate higher standard of living. So that's also we have to keep in mind. Fourthly, to facilitate optimal use of world resources. To facilitate highest use of world's resources. And fifth, to enable the LDCs to secure fair share in the growth of international trade. Sixth, to ensure linkages between trade policies, environmental policies, and sustainable development. So we can just remember the important objectives of World Trade Organizations. First, to ensure reduction of tariffs and other barriers. Second, to eliminate discrimination in trade. Third, it facilitates higher standard of living. And fourth, to facilitate optimal use of world's resources. And fifth, to enable the LDCs to secure fair share in the growth of international trade. And sixth, to ensure linkages between trade policies, environmental policies, and sustainable development growth. So sustainable development in the trade. And of course, World Trade Organization has got its own agreements. Agreement on Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights, which is known as TRIPS. Agreement on Trade. The first important agreement is Agreement on Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights. So that is which is called as TRIPS. And it is known as Agreement on Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights. Intellectual property rights includes copyright. So copyright. And then patents. So copyrights, patents. Okay, so intellectual property rights include copyrights and trademarks, patents, geographical indications, and trade secrets, and industrial designs, and so on. Trademarks. So all these are included in the intellectual property rights. TRIPS agreement provides for granting product patents rather than or instead of process patents. The period of protection will be 20 years for patents, 50 years for copyrights, 7 years for trademarks, and 10 years for layout designs. And as a result of TRIPS, the dependence of LDCs on advanced countries for seeds, fertilizers, and drugs and pesticides has increased. Farmers are depending on the industrial firms for their seeds. Besides TRIPS, there are some other agreements of World Trade Organization also. That is, Agreement on Trade-Related Investment Measures and General Agreement on Trade in Services. And then third, phasing out of Multi-Fiber Agreement and Agreement on Agriculture are also very important. So there are other 4 important agreements which we ought to learn. Agreement on Trade-Related Investment Measures, General Agreement on Trade in Services, General Agreement on Trade in Services, and third, phasing of Multi-Fiber Agreement, and fourth, Agreement on Agriculture. Let us continue learning this lesson in the next class.